Good evening, everyone. How are you all?
Fine,
Good
sir.
evening, sir. I'm
Good
good.
evening,
How are
sir.
you?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Thank
How are you,
you.
sir?
I'm fine as well. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, this is basically an additional session, and in this additional session, as we have mentioned, we are going to complete the topics that we have started in our previous session. And if you have any issue, any problem, that will be discussed. And as you know, our first quiz is coming. So, and the syllabus of the first quiz is up to this chapter, that means chapter 1 and 2. So, if you have any problem, any query, we will basically emphasize on those issues in this session. So, can you remember what we have started or we discussed in our previous session?
So we finished the
Mm-hmm.
journals.
Hmm. Then, after journalizing, what we did,
Leisure.
we,
It's a
pre-
leisure.
we prepared laser, and did we complete any other steps? Have we completed any other steps in our previous session after laser? Mm-hmm.
After trial balance.
We prepare the trial balance. We prepare the trial balance. So basically, we do the journals to start the recording process after identifying the transactions. Why do we need to prepare the laser? Why do we need to prepare the laser?
To get
Hmm.
balances of accounts.
Of each accounts to find out specific balance. To summarize, we can say that to summarize all the related transactions together and find out the balance of any specific account into the ledger. And after preparing the ledger, we transfer it to the trial balance. So this is what we have done. So we did the journals. These are the journals. We have followed an example. Then after doing the journals, we transfer it to the ledgers. Transferring journal to ledger is called what?
Posting.
Posting. Then
Yes.
we post information from journal to ledger. And when we prepare our ledgers, we have seen that the difference between debit and credit is known as balance. And we also have seen that this balance can be three types, basically two types. It can also be three types: debit balance, credit balance, and nil balance. Debit balance means when the total debit is higher than the total credit, then the difference is known as debit balance. And total credit is higher than the total debit, then the difference is known as credit balance. And when these two are same, then there is no balance, nil balance or zero balance, whatever you say. That's how we address different types of balances. And we also have seen that after posting each transaction, it is better to identify what is the remaining balance, because we also have seen in our previous session that each day's balance is also important for the decision making process. So that's how after transferring all the information to the ledgers, we find out the balance. Then the ending balance, so the last balance of each account will be transferred to the trial balance. Same as when we are transferring information from ledger to trial balance is also known as posting to trial balance. And this is how we have transferred information to ledger to trial balance. We found this, or we prepared this trial balance. I have transferred it to the current sheet, that means today's sheet. This is the trial balance we prepared from our previous session. And after preparing the trial balance, we have seen that the total debit is equals to total credit. Why the total debit matches with the total credit? What's the reasons behind that?
Because the recording was done accurately,
Hmm.
with seen from the ledger balances.
Hmm. Same amount was posted to debit and credit when we did the journals, and accordingly we transfer it to the ledgers, and from the ledgers we transfer the balance to trial balance. That's why these two matches. And what does it call
Balance.
when these two amount matches? What does it called? It's called, anyone? It is known as
Arithmetical accuracy.
arithmetical accuracy. Yeah, arithmetical accuracy. And that means arithmetical accuracy means that we have posted the same amount into the debit and credit, and for calculation purposes as well, we haven't made any mistake. That's why both sides equalize. But does it means that there is no mistake?
No, sir, there might be mistakes.
There might be some mistakes. This is the limitations of trial balance. Okay, this is the limitations of trial balance. The limitation is that even though the total debit equalize with the total credit amount, but it doesn't mean that there is no mistakes we have done when we recorded the transaction in the journals or posted to ledger or posted to or transfer it to trial balance. It doesn't means that. It means just means that we probably we have recorded the same amounts to the debits and credits. Now let's see what might be the limitations of the trial balance regarding that issue. The limitations of the trial balance, it's mentioned that sometimes there might be some transaction which has not been journalized, but it is not been possible to identify it when we prepare the trial balance. Do you agree with that? A transaction is not journalized and it is not possible to identify it when we prepare the trial balance.
Yes, sir, that
Yes,
might happen.
that may happen. Say transactions incurred from the previous one, a transaction incurred, the first one, if we forgot to record it or if we do not record it, do you think that there will be any implication into the total debit and total credit? No, the total debit and credit will be same. That's why it has been said that even the trial balance, both sides or debit and credit sides will be same if we miss to journalize any transaction, and it has not been possible to identify it by preparing the trial balance. That's why it's a limitation of trial balance. Second one, a correct journal entry is not posted. Say for example, we have paid salary of $2000. What should be the journal?
Salaries to cash.
Salaries to cash. Salaries debit, cash credit, $2000. It should be the correct journal. And after journalizing this transaction, we now need to post. What does this post means? Journal entry is posted. Trans Posting journal entry. What does it mean?
The recording.
To
According to journal.
no, it's already recorded. That's why it's called journal entry. After
Journal to ledger.
journal to ledger. Yeah, it means that correct journal entry is not posted. That means journal entry is posting. What does this posting means? Transferring information from journal to ledger. Now after journalizing this transaction, now we have to post to the ledger. So this is the first part, journal, and second part we are supposed to prepare ledger. In the ledgers, what we need to do, we have to prepare salaries account. We also need to prepare a cash account. So there will be a debit column. I'm writing down in short, credit column and balance. So whenever we are transferring information, say for example, cash has been transferred to the right or correct account, but at the time of transferring the salaries account, say for example, there is a prepaid salary account, and whenever we are transferring this salaries account by mistake, instead of transferring it to salaries account, we have transferred it to prepaid salaries account. Do you think that if is it a mistake?
So it is a mistake, but it won't affect.
Yeah, it is a mistake, and you can see the total debit and total credit are same, and it will not affect the total of debit and credit of the trial balance as well. But it is, and also it is not identifiable after preparing the trial balance or from the total value of the trial balance that there is some mistake. That's why it is said that a correct journal entry is not posted correctly, or a journal entry was not posted correctly. In that case as well, trial balance will be matched and we are not able to find it out from the trial balance. This is why it's considered as a limitations of trial balance. Third one, a journal entry is posted twice. Say for example, you have recorded this journal and you have correctly posted it to the ledger, but not once, twice. Is it a mistake? Definitely, it's a mistake. And even you are transferring our information twice from journal to ledger, both sides will be matched, but you will not be find it out. So, what's the problem if you post any information twice?
It's a mistake, but I don't think it will interrupt in the total balance.
No, it will not interrupt into the total balance. Total balance will be same in both debit and credit. But my query is that if the situation is like that, you have paid salaries 2000, and if you recorded it twice, or if you posted it twice, what would be the problem?
So it will disrupt in the balance.
This, okay, like,
Yes. So like then expenses might increase and
excellent.
debit side might increase.
Yeah, you actually your expense is actually $2000, but in that case you are showing your expenses by $4000, which is not incurred actually. And on the other hand, it shows that you have paid $4000, but actually we pay $2000. So your payment is overstated and your expenses will be overstated as well, and vice versa. So it is a mistake, and definitely these mistakes cannot be done. But if such mistakes happen, that means if any journal entry is posted twice or more than that, it is not been possible to identify it by preparing a trial balance. That's why it's considered as a limitations of trial balance. Fourth one, incorrect accounts are used in journalizing and posting or posting. Say for example, we have paid salaries for this month $2000, and at the time of recording, instead of salaries, if you record prepaid salaries, do you think that you have used the correct account for that?
No, sir.
No. Is it a mistake?
Yes.
Definitely. What's the reason why it's a mistake?
Wrong account.
Wrong
Salaries.
account. Yeah.
Paid salaries.
So what's the actual mistake here? What's the problem here?
Incorrect account. Is
So this one is also salaries, previous one also salaries. So what's the problem between these two accounts?
the salaries is a kind of asset.
Exactly.
Paid plus
You are
asset
understand, you are not recording your expenses, you are recording as an asset. That means you are overstating your asset and understating your expenses,
expenses.
isn't it? Like that. And sometimes it can be happen that instead of salaries, you may record something like the rent. Is it a mistake? Definitely. You are recording expense as an expense, but you have wrongly categorized what types of expense is it. So if you record salaries as an rent expense, what will happen? Your rent will be overstated and salaries expense will be understated. So it's also another types of mistakes. That's why it has been said that whenever we are using any incorrect account while journalizing or maybe during posting as well, that will be a mistake for the organization, but a trial balance cannot identify it. And the last one, offsetting errors are made. It is interesting. Offsetting errors. Say, in our previous journals, we have mentioned that salary is paid $2,000. We have recorded like that. There might be another transaction, say, for example, utilities expense of dollar 200. What will be the journal?
Utilities account debit
Hmm?
cash. This is
Utilities
debit.
expense debit 2000, sorry, 200, cash credit 200. It should be the journals. But maybe while recording or while posting, uh, we have recorded like that. Something like that. Do you think that is there any mistake?
Yes, sir.
How many mistakes are here?
Sir, we are overstating the amount.
Overstating the amounts, and in another case we are understating the amount. So basically in the recording process or journalizing process, if you consider from journalizing perspective, there are two mistakes in journalization. This one, we have made a mistake to record the, sorry, this is the salaries. We have made a mistake to record the salaries, and as well as we have made a mistake to record the utilities expense as well. And these mistakes are, one mistake is oversight by another one, or one mistake is offsetting by another mistake. Do you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
This mistakes is offsetted by this one, and these mistakes have been offsetted by this one. And these types of mistakes, now both debit and credits are same, and it is not possible to identify it by preparing the trial balance. And because one mistakes have been offsetted by another mistake, that types of mistakes is known as offsetting error. So in case of offsetting error, even though there is some mistakes, it is not been possible to identify it by preparing the trial balance. That's why it's been considered a limitations of trial balance. So these are the things happens when we prepare the trial balance. Firstly, we need to find out arithmetical accuracy. Secondly, we definitely have to mention that whenever we are preparing a trial balance, it doesn't mean that we haven't made any mistakes. These are the different types of mistakes that can happen while we record it in journals or posted it to ledger or transfer it to trial balance. These types of mistakes cannot be identified, these are not identifiable by preparing a trial balance. That's why these are considered as the limitations of trial balance. Yeah, Ishana, please.
Sir, could you explain the format of the trial balance again?
This is the format of the trial balance. We need to show the serial, how many accounts are you recording or transferring or have created. Then the particulars, what are the accounts we have created in the ledgers. We will mention all the accounts name here. This is the reference number of the ledgers we have seen in our previous session. And there will be debit column and credit column where we will transfer the ending balance of respective account, ending balance of respective account. And if that account shows the debit balance, we will transfer it to the debit column. If that account shows the credit balance, we will transfer it to the credit column. And after transferring all the balances to the debit and credit column, we will see that total amounts of the debit and credit are same. That's how a trial balance prepare. And because we are transferring information at the end of a specific accounting period, that's why we will mention that date only. So for example, the examples we are following, it was related April, and after completing the April transaction, we transfer all the information. That's why April 30 has been mentioned. That means a trial balance is prepared only for a specific date. Is it okay, Shana?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
What might be the benefits of preparing trial balance? Do you have any idea? What might be the benefits of preparing trial balance?
Sir, can I answer?
Yeah, sure, please.
Sir, it helps to help us see whether the debit and credit sides are equal or not.
Excellent.
Then, because if it's not equal, then there's some kind of calculation mistake, or we did not calculate or any important information.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. That is from recording perspective. Exactly.
Yes.
It
Uh,
also helps to uh, correctly record the financial
It also
statements.
helps us to visualize the transactions.
mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly. So, anything else we can grab from this statement, this information? Now we can easily provide this information if anyone asks us how much cash on hand. Is it possible to provide that information?
Yes,
Yes, how much?
because
Yeah, this is the amount. 16,200.
16,200.
200. How much amount you spend for supplies? 4,000. What is your liability? Huh? How come 2,400? Yes, exactly. Accounts payable and unearned revenue. That's how we can identify it. That means you know that cash is what types of account? Asset. Asset.
Sir, can you explain like how is unearned service
Yeah,
revenue?
I'm coming to that later on. I'm coming to that later on. Let me finish this one. So cash is an asset. Capital,
Owner's equity.
owner security. Rent expense, expense. Supplies,
asset,
asset. Accounts payable,
Liability.
liability. Accounts receivable,
Asset.
asset. Service revenue, revenue.
Liability,
Unearned service revenue,
liability,
liability. It's a liability. I'm explaining this one as well. And salaries expense,
expense.
expense. So uh, as a whole, can I give some idea how much expenses or what types of expenses incurred, what are the different types of asset, what are the different liabilities, revenues and owner security position for the organization from this trial balance? Can we have this idea? Isn't it? So it this trial balance also gives us the financial position, financial condition, or how much assets we have, what types of assets we have, what are the different expenses, how much we incurred as an expense, how much revenue we are, how much liability we have. These types of information can also grab from the trial balance. That is also another advantage of preparing trial balance. And the most benefit is that we have all this information: asset, expense, liability, capital, revenue, etc., etc. And from the trial balance, we actually prepare financial statements. Okay. So even though we have prepared financial statement in our chapter 1 from the transaction analysis, basically whenever financial statement is prepared, the financial statement is actually been prepared from the trial balance the organizations prepared. So we have uh, completed a couple of steps so far. One is that we identify the transaction. Then what we did, I'm discussing about the accounting process, accounting steps.
recording the transaction,
Exactly. Give me steps in accounting. Identifying the transaction. Thank you, sir. Recording. In the recording, we have completed three steps. What are these?
trial balance,
Journal
trial
first,
balance,
journal first, then
Ledger.
ledger, then trial balance. Next step is preparation of financial statement. That means from the trial balance we can prepare
Profit or loss.
preparation of financial state statements. In the financial statements we have seen we prepare income statement, that is also known as profit and loss statement. What are these? Income
Owner's
statement, owner security statement, statements, then
balance sheet.
balance sheet, then
Cash.
cash flow statement. Cash flow statement. Basically, these are the steps. So, whenever we plan to prepare financial statement, we definitely have to rely on this trial balance, and based from that trial balance or from the information that actually included into the trial balance, we prepare the financial statement. But before preparing the financial statement, some things to need to be done. We'll see it in the next session, or we'll start doing that in the next session. But these are the things or general things that from the trial balance we need to prepare our trial balance. Sorry, prepare our financial statement. So these are the different steps. We'll focus on that steps. Basically, this is our objectives of this course, to complete all the steps, and we would be able to prepare a financial statement for any organization. So that's about the trial balance. So as we have mentioned that a trial balance should be matched. That means debit side and the credit side of the trial balance should be matched. But in some cases we may find that like this. The total debit may not equalize the total credit. In that case, we can see that total debit is now 28,600 and the total credit is 29,600. If the situation is like that, what does it mean and what to do?
So we can add a suspense account.
Yeah, it means that we have made some mistakes in the recording, maybe into the journal on entering or transferring or recording entry into the journal, or maybe at the time of transferring information from journal to ledger or transferring information from ledger to trial balance. In any steps we have made some mistakes. That's why the debit and credit didn't match. But one of the rule of the trial balance is that if the even though the debit and credit didn't match, you have to equalize the both side. That's why what we need to do, we have to, if the debit and credit doesn't match, we have to create an account that is known as suspense account. And by that suspense account, how much the difference is? How much the difference is between the debit and credit?
1,000.
1000. And how can we equalize the both side? How can we equalize the both side?
By adding 1,000 to
I-
debit.
into debit. That means we will create an account that will be known as suspense account, and the difference amounts will be recorded in respect to suspense account. If debit side is lower, we'll record suspense balance to debit side. If the credit side lowers, then we'll record the suspense account balance to the credit side to equalize the both side. Now, if we add this amount uh, to the as a suspense account, now we can see that both side matched. That means we have equalized the both side. But how far we can retain the suspense account, or what does this suspense account means? So after preparing the trial balance, what is our objective? After,
Make a financial statement.
to make the financial statement, our objective is to prepare the financial statement. When we find any suspense account after preparing a trial balance, the objective should be this suspense account need to be eliminated before preparing the financial statement. Have you got me? This suspense account need to be eliminated before preparing the financial statement. Now question is, how can we eliminate the suspense account? By we have made a mistake, by clarifying that mistake, isn't it? If you find out the mistakes you have done and if you clarify it, do you think that the suspense account will retain, will be there?
No, sir.
No, suspense account will be eliminated. So that's why the suspense account is basically a temporary account, is created just to equalize both debit and credit column of the trial balance.
So what mistake are we talking about?
Any mistake, for the mistakes that both sides didn't match,
Hmm.
there are definitely some mistakes, isn't it? That's why the suspense account. And as we know, suspense account need to be eliminated before preparing the financial statement. That means before preparing the financial statement, you need to find out what mistakes you have done and clarify it. And if you clarify the mistakes, there will be no mistakes. Do you think that there will be any suspense account? If you don't know, if you don't do any mistake, there will be no suspense account as well. That's why it is known as a temporary account. This temporary account is basically created just to equalize the debit and credit column if it is not matched when you prepare the trial balance, and should be eliminated by clarifying the mistakes before preparing the financial statements. That's all. Sorry. Before preparing the financial. That's about the suspense account. So these are the issues you may face whenever you are preparing or you are concentrating in the recording system. The way we have to journalize the transactions, after identifying the transactions, we need to find out what are the specific activities accounts are related to that, how they are changing, and by applying the debit credit rule, we will do the journals. Then from the journals, for each of the accounts, we will create separate account into the ledger, and after preparing the ledger, we'll find out the balances, and that balances will be transferred to the trial balance to see whether there is any arithmetical accuracy or not. Even though there is an arithmetical accuracy, we know that there are some limitations, and because of that limitations, trial balance cannot find out those mistakes. That's why it's considered as a limitation. What maybe a journal is not being recorded, a correct journal entry was not posted or recorded, a journal entry has been recorded or posted twice, incorrect account or incorrect amount has been recorded into the journal or into the ledger, or if any mistakes is offsetted by another mistakes, that means offsetting error. So if such mistakes has been done, these types of mistakes is not identifiable from the trial balance. That's why it's a limitations of trial balance. And we also have seen what might be the advantages of preparing trial balance. We have seen that from the trial balance we can identify whether we have recorded amounts to the debit and credit correctly or not. We can identify, we can get a picture of the financial position of the organization by seeing what are the assets, liabilities, expenses in the organization and what are the respective amounts. We can also, or we prepare basically the financial statement from the trial balance, and definitely that's why we definitely have to prepare the trial balance before moving to the next step. And before preparing the trial balance, financial statement after the trial balance, there are some steps that will be discussed from the next session. And uh, lastly, what we have discussed, that even though we prepare the trial balance, sometimes we can see that debit and credit column, total of debit and total of credit may not match. It means that we have made some mistakes in recording. That's why these both sides are not matched. But one of the role of the trial balance is that Even though debit and credit amounts are not same, we have to equalize the both sides by creating an account that is known as an suspense account. This suspense account is basically a temporary account of the organization, and this one actually been created because of some mistake. So before preparing the next step, before moving to the next step, or before preparing the financial statement, we definitely have to identify or clarify those mistakes. And when you clarify those mistakes, the suspense account will be automatically eliminated. That's why it's known as a temporary account, and that's why it's been said that suspense account should be eliminated before preparing the financial statement. So that's about the trial balance. Any query?
Sir, I have a question about the suspense account.
Please proceed.
Sir, so does the account have any amount restriction?
No, there is no amount restriction, because this suspense account will only be created when there is a mistakes to record the amounts, and these amounts can be any amount. There is no amount restriction for that.
Sir, how do we like clarify the mistake? Do we like do the trial balance again?
Basically, we have to show rectification journal. We'll see it later on. We have to do one thing you should keep in mind in accounting. Whatever you are doing, you have to do it through journal. So whenever you are finding any mistakes, you have to rectify it through another journal. So it will be clarified.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
the quiz
Mm-hmm.
will it have multiple choice questions?
There will be, you will get an instruction shortly, maybe on Wednesday. There will be some multiple choice. There might be some fill in the gaps, something like that.
Sir, is it okay if you can talk about the assignments, sir?
Yeah,
Or
please. What are the issues you have regarding assignment? You're supposed to submit it by today. What are the issues you have?
yes,
What are the issues? What are the problems you have here?
স্যার একটা প্রবলেম হয়েছিল যে আমি হচ্ছে আই ওয়েন্ট অন টু সাবমিট দি অ্যাসাইনমেন্ট সো
Mm-hmm.
আই ডিড নট আমি হচ্ছে মানে আই ডিড নট ক্লিক অন দ্য সাবমিট বাটন ইন ইউএক্স কিন্তু আমি হচ্ছে পরের এই ফর্মটাতে আই ওয়েন্ট অন টু সাবমিট আই ফিলড আউট দ্য ফর্ম অ্যান্ড আই মানে আমি ফাইলটাও জমা দিয়েছি
Mm-hmm.
ইভেন কনফার্মেশন মেইলটাও পেয়েছি কিন্তু
Mm-hmm.
তারপর আবার ভিউএক্স এ ফেরত গেলাম তখন when I click on submit ভিউএক্স এ তখন বলে your submission has been aborted মানে ভিউএক্স cannot grade your paper এটা মানে এটা একটা প্রবলেম হচ্ছে স্যার
Okay, can you please is
এই প্রবলেমটা আমারও হচ্ছে।
okay,
স্যার এরকম প্রবলেম আমারও হয়েছে।
okay,
সাবমিটের আগেও হচ্ছে না স্যার, আমি
স্যার
সাবমিটের আগে
প্রবলেমটা হচ্ছে ফর্মটা ফিল আউট তো করেছি আগে কিন্তু ওটার আগে আমি সাবমিশন বাটনটা ভুলে ক্লিক করিনি মানে ফাইলটা সাবমিট করার পর আমি যখন ক্লিক করতে যাই ভিউএক্স এ তখন বলে যে মানে ইট ক্যানট হ্যাপেন আর কি
is it still showing that it cannot be happen?
ইয়েস
Okay,
Yes, sir.
so
স্যার ইভেন
okay,
সাবমিটের আগেও আমি ট্রাই করেছি
okay, okay. If you face any difficulties with the submission for submitting your assignment or anything, alternatively, I am suggesting to email me the docs, so that there will be some documents that you have tried or you have submitted your documents within the deadlines. So who are facing who
স্যার অ্যাসাইনমেন্টস গুগল
let
ক্লাসরুমে দেওয়াটা
let
বেশ বেটার মনে হয়।
let me finish. So whoever facing any such problem, just email me your docs. That will be fine for you. Even though if anything wrong with the box, I will consider that email. Okay.
ওকে স্যার
All right.
Sir, I mailed you regarding assignment 1. You didn't reply.
Okay, let me check. Okay,
Sir,
I have.
also,
Can you please resend your email? I have responded to so many people. Maybe I skipped or I missed your email. Can you please resend me that email?
Sir,
Yeah.
as I'm sick and I have some COVID symptoms also, may I leave now?
Yeah. Sure. Please take rest yourself.
Sir, I have given.
No. Just resend me your email that you have sent it to me. Okay.
Sir, I had a
Sir,
problem. I mailed you before about the clash in the timings.
You mailed me before regarding what? Oh, regarding the quiz one.
Sir, I have two quiz. I have two different courses in the same time.
So which courses? CSE.
Sir, I have yes, sir. CSC.
CSE is going to be start at 7 o'clock.
Sir, the thing is, it will end
At
after like 7:45, but I
huh.
think it's
Oh, okay.
7 o'clock.
We will start the exam at 7:45. Okay, that's why we are going to start. You will get a mail. You will get a mail that we are going to start the exam at 7:45, so that you will not face a problem.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Hasanul.
স্যার আমি তো অ্যাসাইনমেন্টে স্যার কনফার্মেশন মেলটাও আসছে স্যার, তাহলে কি স্যার আপনাকে ডকটা মেল করব?
If you have any confusion, you can just on a safety purpose you can email me.
জাস্ট উইথ সাবমিশন ওটাই হচ্ছে
Hmm.
না।
Hmm. 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 Any other query? I'm not going to discuss any new topic. Will not start any new topic this session because it's not mandatory for you all to attend. But I am supposed to, as I have mentioned, I will discuss any problem, any issues that you may have so far. So you can raise any problem to me. We can discuss.
Sir, will we get the solution of assignment 2 before
Definitely, yeah.
quiz?
Before quiz, uh, I'm not sure because I'm not handling this issue. I can't give you the assurance at this moment. But what we can do, we can discuss about the assignment in the next session.
Yes, sir, that would be great.
That will be good. Yeah. Thank you. Just keep remind me or address it into the session so that uh, we can discuss on that.
I have a question regarding quiz.
Yes, sir.
The quiz, if there is any, we'll face any theoretical problems like theoreticals, like any definition types. Or
At this moment, I can't give you the answer of this one because it's a all the course instructor will sit together and decide what would be the pattern of the question. But before the quiz, you'll get an instruction. On that instruction, everything will be mentioned. Maybe you'll get the instruction on Wednesday.
yes,
Sir, we do not have to join the class link before the quiz day.
It will be mentioned on the instruction. You need to follow the instruction. Okay.
Sir, any suggestion for the quiz?
Try to clear your concept. That's the best suggestion. Your concept must be clear to for the quiz or for the next steps we are going to complete it. Are
I
you?
have another one is
Yeah.
regarding assignment.
Yeah.
So in the assignments, there are some space, especially of the signs. So do you need to? Is it mandatory to provide sign in all the boxes, or I need to give with the numerical boxes?
If you follow the patterns we have followed in during the practice, that will be fine. That means this sign dollars. Do you mean the dollar sign?
No, plus minus sign.
Plus minus sign. Plus minus sign. Definitely, yeah. You have to mention it.
So do you need to mention in the numerical box, or I have to mention it in the left side box? Such small box.
Left side box means
Now suppose there is a number in the in a row 34, and in the left side, I mean,
If
in
it
the
is
left side of the
if it is understandable whether you are deducting or adding, that will be fine.
so it is understandable that there is a number, and in the left side of the box there is a minus.
Okay, it's
It
okay.
looks like there is a minus sign.
It's okay. It's okay. Definitely okay.
It's not even in the numerical box.
Okay, no problem.
The-
It's not a problem.
Another issue is if there is any no entry, but I have provided plus minus. Is it acceptable, sir?
No entry plus minus means?
Sir, in some boxes
Huh.
there is no any entry,
Huh.
especially in a particular box there is no
Huh.
cache. But
Hmm.
after
Hmm.
the numerical box of the cache, in
Hmm.
the right side I have provided plus. Then in the right side there is a blank. Then I have provided another plus.
So why do you need to show?
Sir, is it acceptable
No,
to show?
it's better not to show that types of unnecessary sign.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir.
Sir, I had a question about the midterm.
Made. Okay.
So, sir, since the midterm is going to be held on campus, we
Hmm.
do not have to take our devices.
No, you don't have to take your devices. Yeah.
Sir, it will be handwritten, right?
It will be handwritten. Yeah. It will be handwritten. Any other query, sir? Are you guys comfortable with the teaching procedures I have followed? Or the way I am teaching?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah. Plus,
Yes, sir.
feel free to share with me if you face any problem, any difficulty, or if you are I'm not going with you all. So don't hesitate to share with me. It will be beneficial for me, for you as well. Okay?
Sir, I have a query regarding the assignment.
Yes, please.
Sir, can you explain me the transaction number 5? Sorry, August 5 transaction.
I don't have that questions with me. Can you please mention what they mention to the transaction file?
It mentioned county news bills 250 for the advertisement service provider.
Hmm. So what types of organization are you handling? What is the
Legal
nature?
agency.
It's,
Legal agency.
it's a legal agency. Can anyone help him for that?
So as far as I know, it's accounts receivable and service revenue.
They have provided the advertising service to their client, is it?
Yes, sir.
So if they provide services, advertising service or some other services to their client, so service revenue account definitely. Now question is whether they have received cash or not.
Received bill.
Bill, that means they haven't received the cash yet. So they will receive cash in future. So accounts receivable is another account.
So as far as I understood, they took the advertisement service because they cannot provide advertisement service as a legal agency,
So
right?
they took help on
So
advertising some county
yeah,
news.
can you please write it down? I into the chat box, that will help me. We have solved a similar problem in our. Yeah, thank you so much. So continuous bill 250 for the advertisement for service provider. So they haven't provided. They received the service. What service they received?
Advertisement.
Advertisement. So advertisement is an
Expense.
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 So advertising expense. So do you think that they have paid?
No, sir.
No.
no, sir.
No. So if they don't pay, are they liable to pay?
You say accounts
Yes,
payable.
sir.
Accounts
Accounts payable and
accounts payable.
expenses.
Yeah. Advertising expense and accounts payable. That's all.
The problem was if we
Hmm.
keep it like the right way, that's supposed to be like accounts payable to advertisement expenses. then sir the balance doesn't match.
Definitely, definitely it should match. You have made some mistakes.
Sir, I have checked this, and if I put it on the account receivable column, then it matches. But if I put it on the accounts payable column, it doesn't match.
It should be matched.
It's being billed, right? County News is billing them, so they're
Yeah,
supposed to pay it.
they are supposed to pay it. Country News is the news agency, maybe the newspaper. You have made an advertisement to that newspaper. Now you have to pay them. You made a mistake somewhere else. Maybe you haven't recorded the advertising expense, or you have posted the advertising expense to credit column. It can be.
Yes, sir, I will take another look.
Yeah, have a look another one. Yeah. Okay. Is there any other query?
No, sir. Thank you
So
so
I
much.
have a query, sir, regarding the difference between, sir, borrowed from bank and purchase anything on account. Sir,
Hmm.
if it's a borrowed from banks,
Mm-hmm.
is it always not payable, or there can be any difference?
Anyone can help him?
That should be a loan.
That should be a loan. If they just mention a borrowed from bank, it should be considered. Or if you are
It's just a loan and cash is
debit,
getting, like cash is being stored from
eh,
the government, right?
exactly from
Sorry,
the
from the
bank,
bank.
from the bank. Yeah, from the bank. So you have taken cash from the bank and in the form of loan. That's why there should be a loan account. If they mention that for that loan you have issued a notes, then instead of loan you will mention notes payable. Typically or generally, we use the accounts payable account when we buy something on credit, not for taking loan. But if they specifically mention that for taking loan you have to use that account, accounts payable, notes payable, or something else, that's a different issue. But in general, if you take any loan, you have to mention it as a loan. If you issued a notes against that loan, you have to mention that notes payable account. Or if you buy anything on credit on account, that should be recorded as an accounts payable.
And said about that County News, that $250 bill.
Hmm.
When we said that there is an accounts payable activity of $250 that the company has to pay County News 250, the
Ye-
expenses, that is 250.
Yeah,
So they actually cancel each other out. Okay, that's how the both sides of the equation are equal.
equal. Yep.
Okay, that's what I
Yeah,
wanted to verify.
yeah. You're absolutely right. Yeah. So is it okay? Any other issue?
No, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
It's okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. I will share this recorded one shortly, and have a good day. Good luck to you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Have a
Yes,
Thank
good
you.
have
day.
a good day,
Sir,
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much, sir.
Good day, sir.
Thank you.